from there to the commercial, right? We kept the intellectual property rights. We made it commercially available. Came back in 2009. I'm working on a project for JMIS, the Joint Miscellaneous. I can't discuss anything about that, right? That was at MacDill. And I spent a little over a year on that contract, and we lost that contract. But the whole time I'm on this contract, this multi-million-dollar contract at MacDill, this is for the company that's owned by General Jones, and his son is my boss, right? So
right.
I like to joke that people give Ivanka Trump a hard time because she may have profited selling shoes, while her father's president. Yet Obama and everybody was okay with General Jones owning a defense contracting company, profiting millions of dollars in essentially the same thing that we indicted the Russians for. And he made it commercially available, right?
Right.
His son's first job to understand the relationship. This is why everything comes together for me, but maybe not for other people. I understood that his son, Jim, his first job was as an unpaid intern for John McCain. John McCain was Jones's captain, I believe, back in Vietnam. They have a 40-year, very deep relationship. And you see and when you see these, the use of black psyop on Americans, like what I showed you with with that article, with the McCain in 2010.
So let's just break that down, because the audience hasn't seen the article. They need to understand the relationship between McCain, the generals, obviously Jim Jones, and what the technology was that you were developing to be turned and now used against Americans. This was never to be used against Americans. It was specifically, there's laws there that say it's only to be used out of the country for the purposes of like getting the Sunni Shia to work together to fight Al-Qaeda. And it was very successful. After that, things fell apart clearly. We took out Gaddafi, and then, ISIS was born and they took off, and so on and so forth. And that really was probably the bigger design. And you didn't really know that, and were an unwilling participant in spawning that. But, the audience doesn't really understand the significance of General Jones and John McCain and the other generals that were actually PSYOP themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you look at the article that I hope you can share a link with that.
We will.
If you look at that article, you'll see how in 2010, like around, and I'm guessing at dates here, but they're very close, around March or April of 2010, or actually I think it was February 2010, General Jones and a group of senators were visiting Afghanistan. A reporter, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, he seemed like a really good guy. He passed away. But the reporter wrote and broke a story that that visiting group of senators had been psyoped at the government's request by the U.S. military to try to influence them to spend more money in Afghanistan. Wow, what's the problem with that? I don't see any problem with that, right?
Well, who's getting rich over there? What do they need money spent in Afghanistan for, and who's benefiting from that?
I got a really nice pool out of it. So contractors were making a lot of money. I made $240,000 in Iraq, right?
Wow.
I was there for that 1 year as a contractor. When I was in Afghanistan for 5 months as a PFC, I made about $2,000 a month, and I paid taxes on that. So you'll see when you go to my website, you'll see that
right.
I actually. That's another issue that I have. My common enemy right now, bringing the Democrats and Republicans together, is the military-industrial complex.
Agreed.
It's control on our government, right? So that would be where the money's coming from in Afghanistan. The guy went on to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, they psyop the senators to go ahead and get them to agree to spend more money in Afghanistan. So the military-industrial complex is benefiting financially by being over there and providing the machines for war. Keep going.
Well, and keep in mind, right, the owner of my company, General James Jones, a 4-star retired general, when he was a NATO Supreme Allied Commander, him and his family were profiting from, and this is completely easily verifiable. You would think that I would be sued if I said something like that, right? And I would hope I would. I would hope America would sue the hell out of someone like that. It wasn't true. Very easy to verify. Jones is a NATO Supreme Allied Commander making millions of dollars on contracts from a Defense Department company that his family owns. These are big problems, right? The people just that are responsible for getting us out of war, when they're profiting on it, is something that I hope that's what actually comes out of this, if anything.
Well, they're diametrically opposed, right? If you're profiting on something, why do you want it to end? And therein lies the endless cycle of war. I want to talk